place today. I'm not at home. At a place called the Baby Farm. And it's a very, very old farm in our area. And this is a picture of it right here. It's from 1705, which was a really, really, really long time ago. And we're going to look at some things here today. Some animals, some plants, and some cool farm buildings. So be ready. The next thing we're going to do is take a look at the farm from far away. And then we're going to find some animals, okay? Here we go. Well, here we are, guys. We found our first animal. I know you can guess which animal it is. And look, it's really cool because it's part of a 518 rainbow. It's the rainbow horse. And I really like him. He's a little bit taller than me. So, the horse is our first animal. Now we'll have to see if we can find some more. Let's go.
Hi everyone, my name is Mike. I'm Lisa's son, but I'm all grown up now. And now I work at the farm. I work at the historic farm. And this right here, you can see her walking around. That's Katya. And well, I'm sure you might know what animal she is. Yeah, she's our cat. She's our farm cat. Now on a historic farm, cats have very important jobs to do, right? They're not just here to sit around and look cute, even though she does a lot of that. She's here to catch all of the small animals, the small creatures that we hanging around our barn. Now, do you know what creatures those might be? What cats like to chase? Yeah, they like to chase mice. And if the mice get into your barn where all your food is, well, they'll eat all your food before you can. So you have to have a cat to make sure that doesn't happen. Hi everyone, so here we have two of our farm animals. We have a sheep here, and this is Yaya, that's her name. And her friend here is Goat Girl. Oh, there she goes. Goat Girl is a goat. And they're both, you know, they're not too young, they're not too old. They're like a normal size for their types of animals. Now, the Mabies would keep these creatures around. Today we keep them around mostly for fun. Mostly to show them off to kids and adults and everyone who comes here. But the Mabies would need this lady for a reason. Right? You see this very soft, thick fur? Well, it's not really fur. They call it wool, right? And wool is what the Mabies would make all of their clothes out of. You see, the Mabies couldn't just go to the store and buy a jacket or buy a shirt. They would have to make all their stuff on their own here on the farm. So they would keep a bunch of these sheep around, maybe not just one, maybe more like 12 or 20 sheep, so they could shear them every spring. She's gonna get a haircut, a big old haircut, and when she's done with the haircut, she'll look pretty similar to Goat Girl here. She's not gonna have any of the wool left. But she'll grow it back. She grows it back every year so that in time for the winter time, when she needs it to stay warm, well, she'll be nice and warm. Now, Goat Girl here, well, Goat Girl we mostly keep because Yaya needs a friend. She needs company. You can see Goat Girl is kind of a little bit, yeah, she likes to do that. She's not a very nice goat. She's kind of a mean goat. She likes to, I mean, she's just playing, but her kind of playing is really not all that nice. So you can get milk from a goat. You could always eat a goat, but we're not going to eat this goat. We're just going to leave her here because, well, I don't think she would taste very good. So that's Goat Girl. And the two of these animals have, you know, they're best friends. They stay here and they live in that shed over there. And an important thing that we have to do is take care of these animals. Right? They need every day, they need nice clean water. So I'm going to take this hay out of their water, make it a little bit cleaner. And for food, there's one thing they really like. So normally they get hay, and hay is just this stuff, right? It looks like this. But we also have some grain, and grain is their favorite. So I'm going to give them some grain. It's like a treat for them. It's kind of like junk food, though, so they can't eat too much. So... you see the grain here? You want to get a close-up look at that? Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. Okay, there we go. All right. There, that's... yeah, they're going to try to eat it out of the bucket then. All right, hold on. Go in there. These are our brand new baby chicks. They'll grow up to be full chickens and roosters. And of course, a farm is going to keep chicks and chickens around so that they can produce eggs and so that they can produce meat. And they'll also go around and they'll eat all the nasty bugs that might be sitting on your plants or sitting in your grass, things like ticks that you don't want. So these guys will take care of that when they're older. Right now they're just little babies, so they don't have their feathers. You can see they're in this red lamp, which keeps them nice and warm, about 90 degrees warm, because they don't have their feathers yet. But once they do, I mean, you'll see them start to walk around and be very independent, be very resourceful, and pretty tough. They're pretty tough little birds when they're all grown up. Alright, so these are our baby goats. We've got, well, Mama over here, and then the two babies over here. And I'll go right down to their level. So up here on top of the log, we have, this is Abby. She's playing with that little plank over there. Hi, Abby. Oh, bye, Abby. And now, looks like Ellie's going to take her place. This is Ellie. Ellie and Abby. There you go, Ellie. Oh, look at that little goat. Look at that goat up there. Oh, yes. What a cutie goat. And we got Mama Goat in the back. And these baby goats are just about 1 month old, so they're still very young. They're still figuring things out as well, and they like to jump on top of everything. They're getting their agility and their climbing skills all honed for when they become older. Of course, Mama has to take care of these two little guys. And they're always nursing, so they get milk from Mama, and that's their main source of nutrients. And yeah, they're just a barrel of fun. Just one walk. One walk. Come back to Mama. Back to Mama. Hi everyone, so here we are in our gardens and our fields, right? So I know you guys planted seeds pretty recently, and that might have been just a science experiment for you guys, but I want you guys to think back when the Maybes were alive. They couldn't just go to the store and get whatever food they wanted. They would have to plant all the food they were going to eat. Just like you planted some vegetables, they would have to plant all the vegetables, all the food that they would need to eat. So we do that here today, and this is we call it our kitchen garden, so that all of these things coming from the garden can go to the kitchen, and we can, turn them into food. And we just planted these, so nothing is really coming up yet, but in between these sticks here, we have nice, even rows of different plants so that we know what everything is going to be, and we can keep it separate from the other things. The only thing that's growing right now is we have 2 rows of radishes, which you can start to see sticking up above the dirt, and hopefully in the next couple of weeks the rest of these rows will come in too, so that we'll have a number of things that we can harvest when the time comes. It's not a quick process. Usually this takes a couple of months to take a seed and to grow it into a vegetable or a fruit that you can eat. So it's not something that happens just like that. You got to have patience, and you got to put in the hard work to make it happen. So we have some seeds right here. I'll show you the seeds.
Are those radishes?
Yeah, these are radish seeds right here. And you can see how tiny they are. So on the package, you'll see what they're supposed to look like. But they start just with this tiny little seed, just like that. And planting one of these is pretty tricky work because they're so small. So I'll put these back so that maybe we can plant them at a later date. Now, another thing we planted were these peas here. Now, peas have a big seed, so they're much easier to show. Yeah, see, these are much bigger, like that. Might look like something you've had on your dinner plate at some point, huh? It looks just like, kind of does coming out of the microwave for me. So, we have more things growing though, so I'm going to show you that over here. So, right here is maybe the most important thing on a historic farm, because most of what the babies would eat was bread. Now, I don't know if you have ever seen where bread comes from, but bread, well, it grows from the ground just like a vegetable would, right? Just like a carrot or just like a pea would do. But here we have, it might look like grass, right? Like you might have on your lawn, in a park, but it's a special type of grass. This is wheatgrass, right? It grows into the wheat plant. So when it's done, it's going to be about this tall, and it's going to be a nice golden brown color. It's going to be kind of nice and wavy in the wind. It's going to be very cool, and we'll have to harvest that and turn that into, well, grain, and then goes into flour, and then flour you can turn into bread. So we plant this in the spring, like we planted this, a couple of weeks ago, and it's not going to be ready till probably the end of summer, maybe in August or maybe in September, and we'll have to come and cut it all down and process it, and that's a whole lot of work. So the Mabies would work all year round just to get a couple of loaves of bread, but that's what they would need to do to feed their family. There was nothing else they could do to get that food. That's just how it was. So another important thing that the Mabies could eat, again, something they could grow right here where they lived, well, they would grow them on these trees here. And I wonder if you guys can think of a fruit, or maybe a couple of fruits that grow on trees. Well, in this case, this tree is going to grow apples. This is an apple tree. It's not just any tree, right? So even though you don't see much going on right now, in September, in the fall, you're going to see a lot of big red juicy apples hanging off of this tree. Hundreds and hundreds of apples on one tree alone. And we'll be able to pick those, and we could eat them right off the tree, or we could turn them into apple cider, or we could bake them into a pie. We could do whatever we want with them. So that's an apple tree right here. And we also have, I don't know if you can see, but further back there, we have some peach trees too. So it's not just apples, you can also grow peaches around here. So we just have a couple of peach trees. Apples are definitely more of a common fruit you see around here, but peaches also work.
Are the peach trees the ones with the white flowers?
Yes, the peach trees have those white flowers, and those flowers are what will become the fruit, right? The flowers will become the peaches, or when these apple trees have their flowers, those flowers will become the apples. So the flower becomes the fruit, and then you can either eat the fruit, or you can take the seeds out of the fruit and plant them and grow a whole new tree. friends to help them build it. It's a very large structure. And why don't you come on inside and I'll show you just how big it is on the inside. Alright, so we're inside the barn, and you can see this is a very massive structure. And I don't know if you kids have ever played with Lincoln Logs or maybe Legos, but this barn, you can put it together like a giant version of Lincoln Logs. It's pretty cool when you see it all happen. Now, actually we have a small version of the barn, that's what you see over there, and that's actually what we do sometimes for education activities. We take this little version of the big barn and we put it together, and that is an exact copy of the big barn. So I put this together the other day, and even when you're doing the small version like this, it's still a lot of work. So I can only imagine how much work the big barn was. And the babies would do all this work, not for fun, not for a sense of accomplishment, although they probably got that. The babies would do this because, well, they're going to need to store some things in here, right? Like maybe some of their animals. Can you think of any animals that might want to live in the barn? Well, we have a cat in here right now. She just comes in here whenever she wants. But you know, we could probably have Yaya and Goat Girl in here, like we saw them outside. But maybe they would put cows in here, or pigs in here, or horses in here. You know, horses are very important animals. You got to keep them safe. All kinds of animals could live in this barn where they would be safe from the elements, from the weather, and safe from any other animals outside, any wild animals that might want to come and try and attack them. So this is a safe place for all the animals in here. So this is another thing that, well, the babies probably wouldn't keep this in their barn, but we're keeping it in our barn today. This is a boat, or a bateau. That's just a fancy name for boat. So nowadays, you might travel places in a car, or a plane, or a train, or a bus. But the babies didn't have any of those. None of those things existed back when the babies were here. So instead, if they wanted to get places, well, what do you think they could do? They could certainly walk somewhere, but that's going to take a long time. They might be able to ride a horse somewhere, but, you know, sometimes horses don't want to go where you want to go, so that's not always an option. Maybe the best option would be this boat right here, or a boat like it. These boats would travel on the river. There's a river outside, we'll show you in a little bit. And that river would connect this farm here all the way back to the town of Schenectady, which is where if the babies needed something, well, maybe they could go to the town of Schenectady and get it. Maybe if they wanted to trade or to buy something, they could go to Schenectady. But for the most part, because even taking a boat back to Schenectady is going to take you all day, they would try and stay here on the farm and make all their necessary goods right here where they work. This is the Mohawk River here, and this is where the babies, you know, they could row their boat, right? They would have to row from Schenectady here to the farm, which is, you know, it's a long time. It's a long time to be rowing. You get really tired after a while. But believe it or not, that was the fastest way to get anywhere back when the babies were here. House, finally we get to the baby's house. So after they were done with all their farm work, they'd come in from the fields, they were done in the barn, they would come and, well, they would have a meal inside, they'd go to sleep inside, but that's really all they could do inside. There wasn't too much to do back in 1705. So it really was just a place to eat and to sleep, and when the weather was really bad, you could take shelter in there. But other than that, there's no video games or comfy furniture or anything like that. It's a very basic house.
And that's about it that we have to talk about for Baby Farm today. We saw some animals, we saw where we can grow some vegetables,